you to Echo for putting this on. I appreciate it. My name is Jared Kraus. I'm from Wisconsin, Milwaukee area. If you're familiar with that, it's about an hour and a half north of Chicago. And I have a business around here, started about 7 years ago and still continuing to this day and making it happen.
Cool.
There you go. My name is Kyle Krausik. I'm from Northwest Ohio, just outside of Toledo, Sylvania, Ohio. 16 years old, and this is my 4th year doing all this.
Holy crap, 16. I feel like such a slacker all of a sudden. All right, Southern Stripes.
All right, I'm Jack Freeman. We're both 15. We're twins, and we're from Greenville, South Carolina. So we've been doing this for about 5 years now.
You're killing me. All right, Jake, you're like the old guy in the group here.
Oh yeah. What's up, everybody? My name is Jacob Sullivan. I am also known as Jake the Lawn Kid here on YouTube. I also have my own lawn care business, JTLK Turf Care. Been doing that now for about 7 years. It all started about 7 years ago. I had the influence of my dad, who's in the pest industry, very successful at business. And I also had the one, the only Alan Hain, the lawn care nut, who was my neighbor, who was also a mastermind in business and marketing and all that fun stuff. And he was a big proponent in the green industry way back in the day too, around 1995, I think. Yeah, True Green 1995. He's been in the industry ever since, big proponent of the green industry. Anyway, I digress from that. Here we are 7 years later. Due to the influence of that, I have a lawn care business with 27 customers. 10 out of those 27 are fertilizer clients, and the other 17 are weekly mowing and cleanup. So yeah, that's what we got here. Thanks. Awesome. Happy to be here, by the way.
Welcome, Jake. All right, another set of twins. It's not enough to have one. We got to have two, Abigail and Jacqueline.
Hey, everyone. I'm Jacqueline, and I'm Abigail. We are 21, about to be 22, but we started our business on our 18th birthday, and we are going on to our 5th season.
That's
keeps me busy, that's for sure.
Is that so? This is full time for you, right? This is not. You're not playing around.
Wow. Right now with school, it's about 6 days a week.
Oh, wait! You're still in school?
I'm a junior in high school currently.
So you didn't drop out. And how many are you doing again?
About 81 a week.
It's insane.
All right.
Well, go figure. You probably do like 12 a day or something like that, right?
It's about 12 after school, and then Saturday is about 20-ish.
Just bang them out right after school. Been there.
So
exactly.
Are you failing like everything?
I'm still maintaining a 3.5 and above GPA, keeping all A's and B's. So,
wow.
Sam, if I may, if I can run a YouTube channel,
of the 30 pros that help guide this program and mentor the larger community. And one of the questions that was in here is, why is Southern Stripes in here? They like steel or steel, which is awesome.
I like steel too.
Yeah, I think almost everybody here does. So Abigail, Jacqueline, do you guys want to take that as UAG members? You want to answer, why is it that this is sponsored by Echo, but we got a couple of steel fans in here?
Yeah, so we get this question a lot about branding. But the main thing is it's all about like the community, wanting to better the community rather than showing off a brand and going for like Echo or steel or whatever. It's more about wanting to get yourself involved in the community and help others inside the community.
If I may add to that, it's all based on dealer support too, right? Not everybody can get Echo or steel. It really depends on what your dealer has. So that's all I could say.
Yeah, and that's very true. So I can speak as the manager of this community. Echo is our sponsor, but Echo never once said you can't talk about other brands, you can't talk positively about other brands, and you should be excluding people who don't like Echo or who prefer other brands. Their goal is to help you all better your businesses, whatever that happens to be, whether it's with their products or someone else's products, it doesn't matter. And so that's what this community is all about. So that's the answer to that question.
Sam, I just wanted to say real quick, Brad from Copper Creek is in the Copper Creek, I should say. He's in the chats here saying something's going on with the live stream.
All right, cool. Let's, Angel, do you want to, let's see. All right, we're going to keep going here, and we will try and see what's, if they can kind of check it out in the meantime.
He says he's got it.
He says he's got it
Yeah,
now.
he just
All
said
right,
he's got
yeah,
back
cool.
then.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad it's working for you guys.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, so that's a good idea. So yeah, if anybody else out there, if you can listen and reload the page, and you'll be good. All right, cool. So why don't we switch this up a little bit and talk about the challenges. I think that's one of the things that I personally would like to know. I'm fascinated by this. You know, I started a business when I was 18, and I know the challenges that I had doing it, from borrowing money and having vendors take me seriously. I had 3 employees by the time I was 19 that were a good 10 years older than me, and they didn't take me seriously, and I found that really hard. So I'd like to hear, you know what I mean. I guess we'll start with I don't know, Kyle. Why don't we start with you? Why don't you tell us a little bit about the challenges that you've had? Have you experienced any of that?
Most of the challenges really starting out. Professionalism is a big thing, trying to get a brand out there. I mean, when I first started out, a lot of the time it was running a push mower out of the back of my dad's SUV. So running a little push mower and driving around yard to yard, it's not a big image out there compared to an enclosed trailer, whatnot. So that was a big struggle too. And people taking you seriously, you kind of get, like you were saying earlier, I mean, they hire the company and then you show up at their doorstep. What do? They see a kid. I've had many people before say, "Oh, you're so-and-so." And I introduce myself and kind of explain them, yeah, that's me. Another really big thing, I guess, is finding good help. I mean, you get, like you were saying, you don't get taken seriously that much. A lot of times you do hire your buddies or your high school friends, and they're just high schoolers. It's just a job to them. It's nothing crazy compared to you. You're trying to live out what you want to do for your whole life and try and make that happen. So it's just kind of hard to find somebody that has as much motivation as you to go the extra mile to separate your business from everyone else.
I got something I'd like to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so to Kyle's point here, I think he's very right? Finding good help and finding customers that will take you seriously, especially in today's market, it's almost next to impossible, especially if you're just getting into it and you have no clue what you're doing. I know from experience, when I started, this little 14-year-old kid, nobody took me seriously. But in times like these, the least you could do is focus on your marketing, right? Your marketing is the one thing that will set you apart from everybody else. If you have a good marketing idea, if you have a good marketing plan, maybe you have like quality looking door hangers and you hand those year-olds that are in here. But I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure on that one, Jake. We've made door hangers this year, and I actually designed them. But if you can make it look like that company has been in business for 30 years, and then you show up at their door, it's even more impressive for them that it's a 15-year-old that can't even drive yet that's coming up to their door that's giving you a quote. So
yeah, and if you're very well spoken too, like they love that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Going from the point Southern Stripes just made too, pulling up to the quote, you're 15 years old. Well, you can't drive to the quote. So then the next thing they see too is you either have a sibling or one of your parents driving you there. So that's another thing too that was kind of hard in the beginning, is if you can't even drive, then that's another kind of red flag for some people, just kind of pushing them away a little.
That's where I would say route density would probably come in, like doing lawns that are down the street, getting the mower, putting the trimmer on it, all that stuff. And then of course, it all starts with close friends, like people that you can use their lawns to show like the work that you do, and then they share it around, and then before you know it, you could probably get like a whole block within your subdivision.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? I got to stop you there though, because that makes sense once you've got your first 2, 3, 4 clients. So I'd like to hear some of these stories. You know what I mean? Like you know, who was it that said, you know, you're 13, you can't even drive yet? I'm going to say, how are you going to get your mower onto my property? Like, if I'm like, you know, where do you live? If you're a neighbor, fine.
Yeah.
How do you get that first 1, 2, 3, 4 clients that you can then build from?
Put that push mower in the back of the SUV and call it a day.
We were lucky when we moved into our new neighborhood. It's a nicer neighborhood. So we just started advertising that with our services with a push mower. And then once we did 1 yard, and then we finally got a nicer mower and started striping it, the name just kind of spread pretty quickly. And then we got into other neighborhoods because like the people that we mow in here's parents live in this neighborhood, and then we get their neighbor and then keep picking it up. And it's how we've kept rolling. Yeah.
I will say I kind of started out like Jake there for a little bit, doing the neighbors down the street, strapping with a bungee cord, trimmer, and blower there to the little push mower and walking your way down. I remember watching that YouTube video.
Yeah, man, I had to jaunt from like one side of the neighborhood to the other, and I had to push it around. And obviously back then I didn't know how to dress properly. I was wearing like gym shorts and t-shirts and like big radio headphones. I look like, I don't know, I just look nuts. People still hired me though. I did quality work, and then I built up from there. It's always fun to hear those.
We've even gone as far as using a client's push mower in the beginning stages, you know, like when you can't bring a mower there, they're like, hey, you want to use ours? I've actually still to this day gotten questions from people. Hey, do you bring your own equipment or do you use ours? I'm like, no, now we use our own. But back in the day, yeah, sometimes you just do it if it was a city away or whatever. I know back when I was 13, 14, my mom or my dad would drive around in the minivan. Me and my brother would unload the mowers, go mow the lawns, and they would read a book until my brother got his license. Then I got my license. You do what you got to do until you can make something work out of it.
For sure. I remember people, like we show up and all these people are like, oh, like you just shouldn't need like a big gate because like you can just push your push mower on. And we're like, we have a 16-foot trailer with 2-3 mowers on it. And they're all 48s. Like we need a big gate.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I get that all the time. It's funny. Like when you're this young kid, no matter how old or young you are, whether it's like 18, 19 years old, customers still think you don't have your own equipment. It's funny.
Yep.
Yeah. Or can you trim those bushes that are way up there? You think you reach those? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, can you take my little 16-inch DeWalt that I have in the garage? I have that for you, ready to go. Oh, actually, I have a whole rig. We're good. Like,
yeah, I don't need your 21-inch push mower. I'm good.
We're good.
Hey, I got these. What's that? I got these. What are those trees that they plant? Oh yeah, those arborvitae trees. They're like 20 feet tall. Can you take that little 16-foot and trim the top? I get that a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. Abigail, Jacqueline, how about you guys? How did you get those first clients? You said you were 18 when you started this?
Yeah, so when we started, we had a car whenever we turned 16, but we found one client that we went to and we just borrowed their tools until we were able to save up enough to buy a truck and a push mower. And then we just basically did that. We pulled weeds also because we didn't need any equipment for that. And then we just saved up until we were able to get more mowers and another truck as well.
See, I don't know. For those of you listening, either whether you're listening live or you're listening to this replay, if you're one of the members of our EMB community, I've heard so many excuses from pros over the last 6 years that I've been working with this community about, I can't grow my business because I can't get people to hire me. These are like grown-ass men and women, or this is difficult or that's difficult. The economy is difficult. When you've got a 13-year-old who can't drive, showing up and still, growing a business, this is really inspiring. And I'm hoping it's going to give the people out there that, and I don't want to say everybody's got an excuse because there are legitimately, there's shit that happens that, is difficult for everybody. And sometimes it's third-party stuff that you can't deal with. But I'm hoping that this is an inspiration to the rest of those out there that, just feel like they can't make it happen.
All right. So the
JC
question
asked a really good question.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
Who wants to take?
I'll take it.
All
We
right.
should all take it.
Okay, so he's asking, what kind of support did your parents give you when you decided to start a lawn care business? First off, my dad was full send. Whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. Did they think you were too young? You're never too young to start. Just get out there and work. Were they hesitant? No. Did they want you to go to college? Well, for the most part, yeah. But it wasn't like they were forcing me into college, or my dad, so to speak, wasn't forcing me to college. It was like, hey, build your business, do what you want to do, but also maybe take a couple of classes on the side so that you have that safety net there in case all else goes south, because you never know in times of uncertainty. So it's good to be prepared.
All right, I'll go next. So I know our parents at first, my dad used to be in the grading business before he got into, both my parents are assistant principals now at high schools. So college, so for the college question, that's a big thing for my parents. They want us to at least go get like a 2-year degree. But we'll see.
But we still got 3 years before we have to decide that. So
it's not that big of a deal yet. And then, but I know at first we were using my dad's push mower, all of our like trimmers and stuff that we just had around the house. And then my dad ended up buying a John Deere lawn tractor. So that was big. And then eventually when we got our first Walker mower, our parents did pay for that on agreement that we would pay them back. So we paid them back for that. And then just along the way, we've ended up like borrowing money out of like a savings account and paying it back at the end of the year when we had more money to like pay stuff back like that. So yeah, they definitely helped us
and supported us through it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I ran my dad's mower down into the crumbler, man. Surprised he hasn't murdered me yet. I'm just kidding.
I will say I've got a lot of support. Starting off, I mean, using my dad's SUV to start with and him driving around. Another big source of support came from my older sister too. She always helps out. She works for me in the summer when she comes home from college, but she always would be driving me around when I couldn't drive. And then when I bought my first truck, actually, I bought a 98 F-250. I bought that when I was 13, and the only reason I was able to was because of a lot from my parents helping me out. And I mean, that's just really, family support is the big thing, and it's hard to find that a lot of times because some people don't think so. But as far as college goes, I will say it's kind of been a little bit of a back and forth. They think I should. I think I'm not going to, but we'll see what happens when we get to that point. I still got one more year to decide.
Yeah, for me, I've had a ton of support from not only my parents, but also relatives, family, and everything like that. And it's been absolutely huge. I mean, from the beginning, borrowing my dad's equipment before I could pay for my own and that sort of thing, as well as even nowadays, I'll get stuck on a job and something doesn't go right. Especially my mom, she's always willing to bring me something if I need it, or my mom and my dad can come and help me for like a half hour, an hour, or whatever if I need it. That goes a long way, especially like if I'm out solo for a day or whatnot. As far as college goes, I knew I wasn't going to college either way. I was either doing this business full time or I was going into the trades. And I actually started going into the trades, got approved and everything for what I was going into, like a operating union, operating heavy equipment, and didn't really work out right. So I said, you know what, we're going to try the lawn care business. And I had already been doing it for a few years. And this would be my first year out of high school, full time, really kind of trying to build something. So what I told myself was, if it doesn't work out, then the trades are still going to be there. Like, the trades aren't going anywhere. My business can start right now. If I fail this year, at least I can say that I tried and I did my best. But it's worked out for the last 3 years, and I'm going to keep building as much as I can.
Very cool.
Hey, Jared, did your parents help you when you got that mini skids flipped?
What was that?
Did your parents come help you when you flipped the mini skid?
So it's funny because that happened right. that happened right outside my where the shop is. So it was not too far away. But my grandpa, my great uncle are right there. Within a half hour, we pulled that thing over. We put a chain around a tree, yanked that thing over, and it was good. But then I had to go to the dealer, and $400 later, it was fixed.
Whoa. Wow.
So for us, whenever we first started, we knew we wanted to go to college. And at that time, we wanted to go for landscape horticulture, but we decided we wanted to get some experience to see if it was what we wanted to do. So we ended up trying to apply for landscape companies around us, but we didn't hear back from them. That's whenever we started our business. But our mom told us that she was all for it. So we started, and then, sorry. I'm gonna take over. Yeah, so now that we've started whilst going to college, sometimes we do get a little booked, and even our mom, she's really supportive with it, and she'll even come out on jobs with us to help. And now that we're going full time almost, she's still really supportive and even there to help.
Yeah, everybody on mute.
Yeah, like they said, our dad still comes and helps us on the weekends. Since he is an administrator, he said that's his release from schoolwork. So he still comes and helps us if we need his help. So yeah, and he rides in the car because we have our permit. But
that's how my dad is. He's always helped me for the past 4 years I've been doing this, whether it's coming out and working or helping me after school with like book work and stuff. So I will say parents do play a big role.
Huge role.
I want to flip that on its ear, because I think it's awesome that, your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, whomever help you. I think that's great. Any help you can get from friends or others is good, but there's got to be a flip side to that. Because at least I know when I started my business at 18, my parents thought that because they loaned me some money and because they were there, I was living in their house, that they could tell me how to run my business, and they knew nothing about my business. Do you guys get that as well? Is there the negative side to that?
Sometimes.
I would say when I started, I remember like going to quote yards and my mom was like, "That's kind of high." I'm like, no, it's not. We used to get, like, my mom would tell us like what we should be charging up until last year. And once we really started growing and she realized that, she kind of let that go. But I do remember at the beginning when she was kind of like telling us like, that's kind of expensive.
Well, that's your neighbor. You don't need to be charging him as much. I'm like, I need to make money somehow.
Man, no neighbor
Yeah,
discount.
My dad's gotten really good at helping with pricing a lot, going out with quotes with me. So that's what's been the nice part, is we kind of bounce ideas off each other and pick the best decision. But we pretty much get on the same page. So just got to put 2 and 2 together and make sure it adds up to 4.
So that's going to lead me into my next question that I want to throw out there for you guys. I want to talk about mentors. That, whether it's your dad, Kyle, you just talked about, was he a business mentor, or others? But before I get to that, so just put a pin in that mentor question, because I think I would like everybody to answer that question. But there's a question or a comment that's not really a question, but I want to call it out in the chat. College is a waste of money. So I want to ask Abigail and Jacqueline first off, because you're just about to graduate. And so did you find that investment was a waste of money, given that, some people do this business without ever going to college?
Honestly, without going to college, we don't think we could successfully run our business the way we have been. So we do go to college for landscape horticulture. So with that, we've learned everything about plant ID, how to properly take care of them, how to maintain plants, landscape design, how to properly landscape. And then along with it, we have learned about the business side. So how to price and give out estimates to your clients. We've learned about client relationships. We've literally learned everything to be able to take this into our business. And honestly, we don't think we could get that outside of college.
I agree with them.
Yeah, I agree with them as well. We have a very similar program to what y'all are taking, about 30 minutes away from us, that we're looking into, because we have an ag program at our high school that does some, leads up to some of that stuff, like plant ID and stuff. So I definitely could agree with them on that.
And even if it's not like an ag or a landscape horticulture like you were talking about, or even turf management for that matter, I still think it's great to maybe consider like one business course. You don't have to go full bore into college, because if you're running a business already, that might be where the waste of money side comes in. But to do like maybe 1 or 2 classes on the side to educate yourself, that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know my high school offers a business technology course, and it's pretty detailed on how to run a business, keep marketing going, attract customers. So I will say there are viable options too for high school, and you don't have to go into college and spend a lot more money.
Oh yeah,
I'll agree with Kyle on that, because I think college is great, and I think what they're doing at Jar Landscaping, I think what you girls are doing is great. I just think too that to anybody that is younger or older, I don't think it's necessarily like a must-have. I agree that learning that stuff will put you ahead, but I feel like too, there's still, depending on what side, like if you're like identifying plants and stuff, that's huge. If you plan on going more into, like, let's say grading or that sort of stuff,
Fertilizer.
like, college might not teach you some of that stuff. So either way, you're still going to have to learn stuff out in the field and learn stuff on the job. So it really depends on what area of, the lawn care or landscape industry you want to get into.
I definitely think there's ways besides college. I just know, we've been in the business 5 years now. So some of the pricing things, some things you learn.
You will, yeah. And you can find mentors, like other people on social media, if you really have questions about that stuff. So it's not like the only thing to do, but it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, it's like a means of education. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. That's just what I would do if you were considering it.
To add on to that, with having like the hands-on experience. We actually do get to go out and landscape at our college campus. We have greenhouses that we can learn about pesticide application, fertilizing. We literally learn that hands-on experience too. So I think it's not just in the classroom, it's also outside of the classroom.
Absolutely. And my local university does that too here in Indiana, Purdue. They do like a field day where you can go over there and fertilize lawns and practice integrated pest management, all that fun stuff that a lot of us don't know about. So it's a cool learning experience, a little hands-on. Again, I've never been to it, but I've read about it and it seems pretty cool.
We have something similar to that at the place I was talking about 30 minutes away. And we also do greenhouses and pesticides and stuff like that at our high school. So,
So we have 2 greenhouses at the high school.
so the hands-on is definitely important instead of just sitting in a classroom all day.
And then there's YouTube, of course. I learned probably 90% of all my skills on YouTube. I'm sure we could all say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that just from a different perspective, having listened to so many pros of all ages, that a lot of them are not in the business anymore for a variety of reasons over the last 6 years that I've been interviewing. The one thing that stands out to me is the number of people that say getting into the business is really easy. And yeah, you can learn from YouTube. You can learn from just making mistakes. If you tried it early enough, you've got good clients, you'll lose some clients, you'll learn your lesson, you'll make it right on the next one. But those guys and women that are succeeding, like I just had a great interview earlier today with Josh Curvan, in Massachusetts, and he's killing it right now. And when you talk to him, you understand he knows everything there is to know about taxes and managing his taxes so that he doesn't get screwed at the end of the year and he's got some money left over. He knows everything about inventory management and time management and pricing. He can give you what his costs are to the penny on any given day, if it rains or if it doesn't rain. Understanding that part of your business could take a very long time without that education. What I found is that either pros that got that education either working for somebody else or in a management in a different industry, or who took it in school, they just get to that success point a lot faster. Doesn't mean you need college to be successful, but it definitely helps you get there a little bit faster. So even if you walk out with some debt, you'll be able to pay it off, relatively quickly, and then you got something to fall back on with that degree, right? Or that diploma.
Yep.
So why don't we talk about mentors? Let's go around. Who are your mentors? Who helped you get to where you are today or are still helping you get to where you are?
Somebody that's not me this time. Come on.
Jared, you got it.
Okay. For me, it's so many different people in my life. I mean, obviously my family has been a huge help, and I think we can all agree with that. My dad, my mom, my uncle, and my grandpa, for sure, have taught me a lot of I guess just getting familiar with equipment. Jake, going off what you said, learning from YouTube. If you don't know how to trim bushes or edge a lawn, like YouTube it, figure it out, But then the whole social media side of stuff. So like for me on social media, like my JC's Lawn Tips page isn't necessarily to help me grow my business. It's really more to just network and meet other people in the industry. So I'd say guys like Nick Carlson from Mulchmate have been huge, that are just on a whole different level. Like I'm down here and they're way up there, and just learning from guys that have been in the industry for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever. Even local guys too. So like Instagram, YouTube, I've met guys that are local to me and, went to their shops, had lunch with them, getting those connections and learning from their experiences, things that they've either failed or things that have succeeded for them and worked out. Like it's just an all around good balance to be surrounded with people that motivate you, that inspire you, and that push you to do better.
I agree. And obviously, like you were saying too, family, obviously I feel like family is a big one for everyone. It gives them a little more of a little boost to get going. A lot of it too is from YouTube and social media, which I know I can say growing up, the few main channels I used to watch, it would be Stan the Dirt Monkey. I'd watch Jake all the time. A big one that really hit for me was Greg Chisholm, Geek the Freak.
Yes.
He was always doing his voiceovers, he knew what to say. He worded it perfect. And he was always just influencing anyone that would watch his videos. He'd make it work where he'd be going out with just a push mower, or one day he'd be out there with both of his walk behinds. And he made it work just himself. He didn't need anyone else, and he made a living off of it.
Coming around the back, trimming along the fence. Oop, there's Snake there.
Exactly. All the voiceovers.
Yeah, he made it funny too. I loved it.
Definitely our family, as everyone else said, and Jared said we can all agree on that one. And then Alex Kirby from Trifecta Lawn Care, he's an hour and a half away from us, and we met up for lunch a few times. He's definitely a big mentor of ours.
We don't agree with some of the same things, but definitely still a big mentor.
Yeah, and then like you need to have a balance of mentors, especially like some that might want to be debt free. Like you can look at things differently. Should you finance this? Should you buy this in cash? So like Alex Mushaw from Build Oasis, he's another one of ours, and we have a group chat about that. So that's definitely a few of our mentors.
Okay, so
the biggest mentors for us are our family, like everybody else said. They're always there to help us. If we need any advice, they can help us there too. And then, you know, some of the down, sometimes whenever you're feeling down in the business or anything, they're always there to help you, pick you up and give you that inspiration to keep on going.
Just finished
Jake,
it. All right.
You were gonna add.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is where it gets really interesting for me, because it seems that the upbringing that a lot of you guys had, which is pretty awesome, you guys started with your business, right? And then social media was kind of a thing that you used to grow that business. With me, it was the other way around. You see, one of my biggest mentors in life that I would say for sure is Alan Hain. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about, right? The lawn care nut on YouTube. He's probably one of the biggest guys in our industry. He's more DIY focused, but he has a lot of experience from True Green. He's very experienced in sales, very experienced in marketing. And one of the things that he told me to do before actually starting the business was, hey, you know, you should start a YouTube channel where you teach all this stuff that you're passionate about. And I did. And, you know, that took off doing my thing there. And then on top of that, I also started using that to grow my business. So I had a little bit of a different upbringing, a little bit of a different mentorship, but I am grateful for those mentorships because they did help me get to where I am today, such as working with the folks at Echo here. I wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't for Alan pushing me years ago to start a YouTube channel. So I'm very grateful.
So let's talk about YouTube for a second.
Okay.
This is a bit of a hotly debated topic internally here in our offices. For a lot of reasons. But I don't want to taint the conversation. I just want to ask the question, how important is it for a lawn care professional to have a YouTube channel or, you know, to be big on YouTube? And why do you guys do it?
Okay, so I don't think it's about being big on YouTube, especially if you're using it just to promote your business. But again, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the social proof, right? Having the proof and the video evidence of all the jobs that you're doing, how you do it, showing the behind the scenes, basically giving your audience, if you will, your customers, access, giving them access to how you do things, why you do them that way, showing them how smart we are for how young we are, and making them reconsider on that judgment that they often say that we're young and that we don't know what we're talking about, when in reality, we're pretty damn smart. So that's what I would say. Anybody else want to take the floor?
Yeah, YouTube's not as much of advertisement for us. It's more of the community, as I think Jar said earlier. It's more like the community to get to know people and then post like our setup videos, because that's always a big one every year. Get to look at other people, bounce ideas off each other. And we don't post as much as we should, but we're working on it.
Here's what I like about YouTube compared to stuff like Instagram, Facebook. I feel like YouTube, you can reach a brighter, like a wider audience of people and different ages and stuff. Not that you can't with Instagram and Facebook, but I feel like YouTube too, once it's there, like everything else. But like you can look back on stuff like, you know, like Southern Stripe said, you can look back on your setups from a few years ago. So like for me, I look at the videos, like actually just last week, I was looking at a video that I posted like 6 years ago and I'm like, holy crap, we came, you know, a long way. So it's stuff to look back on, stuff to, like you guys said, show customers like what you're capable of. And yeah, that's what I think about it.
I like Instagram too. Instagram is like one of those platforms that you can use as like your business portfolio, because again, aside from YouTube, which is great, it's also like live instant pictures in real time. So I think maintaining your portfolio on Instagram and having quality photos and videos of your work, even if they're not edited like me, I like to double down on that stuff and, you know, like match the tones on the grid, if you will. But even if you don't do that, it's nice to have some cool pictures up there of your work and show people what you can do, especially with how young we are, right? Take advantage of the youth.
Yeah. Same with Facebook. Facebook's for those more like where your clients are going to be based.
Yep.
Clients are going to have more clients are going to have Facebook than Instagram. So like Jake said, make sure you take those quality pictures and spread your name out there and put your logo on as much stuff as you can. Because once they see your logo and then you get like an enclosed trailer or just some signage, then they'll start beginning to piece together.
One thing for logos too, with signage on trailers, another big thing is adding on there that, hey, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. I know on my trailer, I've got in the corner, each rear corner, I've got the Instagram and Facebook logo and it says follow us. So that way, like you were saying, Jake, it is your portfolio. They can go look it up whenever and they can see everything that you do and all the work you do.
Yeah, and same with in addition to that would be a website. Not as much a social media thing, but definitely having like a gallery or something in there to show off your work. So it comes up right as you look us up.
So this is the, I think maybe it's a bit of a stereotype. I'm not sure that, you know, because you're all younger, you're obviously all very well familiar with social media and how to use it because you guys grew up on social media. But you know, if you're going to give all these tips or you're going to do all the behind the scenes, how much of that should a client actually see? I find a lot of people on YouTube or a lot of pros on YouTube focus on talking to other pros. If you spend all your time talking to other pros, that's not necessarily the right content for your audience. You know, what do y'all think about that?
Okay,
go ahead, Jake.
Go ahead. Okay, I want to take this one real quick. So I think I can argue with that one real quick because it's up to you and the audience that you're looking to target. So that's what I would say. All right, go ahead, JC. I'm sorry.
All I was going to say is this brings up a good point. So like my company name is not JC's Lawn Tips. My company is Lawnscape. And I keep those two completely separate because just for that reason, when I started my page, JC's Lawn Tips, I didn't know how much, you know, I would be talking about. Not that I'm like hiding stuff from customers, but I also didn't think that like customers would even want to see half the stuff like me push mowing a lawn or me reviewing a trimmer or whatever. Like I didn't think that's not the audience I'm targeting with that. So for me, I keep like my business page separate from, you know, like the JC's Lawn Tips, like social media page that I used to interact with people like this right now and meet people in the industry, two separate things. So like I have a separate Instagram page, a separate YouTube page that those people are seeing that. And if they see, you know, this page, or my social media page, like it doesn't bother me. I have nothing to hide, but it's just not targeted towards that audience.
I agree with that because with my business and my portfolio, it's two separate entities. I have Jake the Lawn Kid. That's like where I educate DIYers and I show a little bit of the pro side of what I do in my business because it all kind of correlates. But yeah, having a separate name for your business, I think that's important, especially if you're someone like me looking to sell very long down the road.
Okay, well, let's pick up on that. Long term, you know, you guys are maybe too young to be thinking long term. I love the fact that you've already got kind of what's that exit strategy.
We're not too young.
Yeah, well,
you're
you know
smart.
What? I work with a lot of people. I have worked with a lot of people over the years. I've run multiple businesses, and I can tell you that at 50 and 60, most people still trying to figure out how they're going to retire. You know, you're already talking about an exit strategy. So I'm going to start with Abigail and Jacqueline. You know, you've obviously gone to school for this. You're graduating in a couple of months, or in a month, actually. It's coming up really fast. Holy crap. Have you thought about what that long-term vision for you is? Let's start there, and anybody else can answer this as well.
Yeah, so for us, basically, our long-term vision is just to keep on building this. And if we do happen to have a fail in our company, we will just, our plan B, we've always said, is just to restart it and try it again.
That's the cool part about selling. You could sell a good business when you build it and go and do it again and accumulate all that wealth.
Yeah, once you've done it once, you already know what you need to do to make it even more successful a second time. So that's the same thing here. If it fails once, just try it again. And also the exit strategy is start as young as you can, building up that retirement money and putting stuff aside and investing it.
So if something goes
does
wrong,
happen, you have that money saved up that you can go a few years or whatever not working or building up the new company.
And this real quick, guys, this goes back to something that I tell a lot of people. So I know college isn't very fond on a lot of people that watch this. Some people it is, some people it isn't. But here's what I think about. If you're starting out as a solo guy, let's say you're like 30, 35, 40 years old, maybe even younger than that, no matter how old you are, really. One of the things I think about, especially if you're not like an empire, is injury. Because if you're a solo guy and you can't find any good help, and you're injured and out of the job, then you're out of commission. You're not able to cut those lawns. So that's what I tell a lot of people. Again, I don't push college on anybody, but that's just something that I consider and would never want to happen to me in the future. It's always about thinking ahead in this business.
Yeah, it definitely is. Thinking about what that next step is, what that next purchase is, what happens if you like the what ifs. That helps because we have two of us. So if somebody does get hurt, we're good to go. But yeah, getting up, like having that one guy that, you know, if you need help that one weekend or whatever, if someone does get hurt, or you have that mulch job that you need help with, having that one reliable person that you know you can always call on to help you.
Well, one thing, taking it back kind of to the exit strategy part, is I picked this up listening to Paul Jameson, the Green Industry Podcast. He did an episode with Mulchmate, and I picked this up really well, this is something I did myself, obviously a little bit before that podcast came out, which is if you plan on selling your business later on, how do you keep like a family name or a string attached to it? How do you live on like if you have a company, let's say Jared, let's say his company was Jared's Lawn Care. If he went to sell that someday, how does that significance of Jared's Lawn Care play into the possible next owner? And that's kind of what he was hitting on, was naming your business after something more common and not solely attached. And that's one thing I know I definitely took up on was I used to be K&K Lawn and Landscape. Well, that was my first and last name initials. So if I was looking to sell down the road, exit strategy, how do I keep those strings attached? So that's one big thing, is focusing on that exit strategy and renaming your company possibly, or just kind of thinking about that if you wanted to sell.
Absolutely.
So let's bring it back down to something was said earlier. I made a note of this, and I'm glad we have time to circle back. It's got to be difficult when you're an entrepreneur and you're so focused on your business. You know what I mean? And you're doing, like, you're in school and you're doing 80 properties a week. Like, you clearly have no time for your friends or to hang out with your friends. What kind of pushback? We talked about pushback that maybe you're getting from your folks. What kind of pushback are you getting from friends that are saying, dude, why don't you just, leave that alone? Just come hang out.
I don't know if any of the other guys in here have a girlfriend.
Ooh, not me.
Yeah, I do too, and I just know, like, she's a softball game right now, but I just know, like, it's kind of hard on the weekends because, like, we can't cut after school because we can't drive. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of nights, and and then our guy friends always asking that if we need help working, or if we need, like, they're always willing to help, and they know we usually can't hang out unless it's the weekend or at night sometimes. So
absolutely. And then to add to that, with me, it's a little bit different because I have to maintain the YouTube channel. At least that's what I do, because I also want money coming in on the e-commerce side. That's another conversation for another time. But basically, I put out 2 videos a week on my YouTube channel, whether that's a vlog or sitting here at the desk with this setup, talking to you guys about something in the lawn and how to fix it. And doing that and cutting lawns, I obviously don't have as many lawns as you guys do, but juggling all that around and setting boundaries for yourself, I think, is very important. Like, hey, I'm working this time of the day. I'm getting up this time every morning. This is what I'm doing. And on top of that, it even goes to the people you hang out with. Like, if you have friends that are saying, hey, leave that alone, you shouldn't be doing that, then they're probably not your friends anyway. And you should find some people that support what you do and totally believe in your vision. And even more than that, maybe help you. That's what I would say to that.
Is a lot of friends will focus, hey, like, forget about that, you can do that another time, let's go do this. And one thing I have started to do more and more, and it's helped me a lot, is being more and focusing on talking to them more, hanging out with them more, grabbing dinner. Scott Horozewski on here for landscape.
It's going to happen no matter what. It could be a big project, a little project. It could even be